But that's another story. So here at last was my chance to soar on my own wings, do whatever I wanted, answer to no one. At first, I was so busy with the holidays and everything at the bookstore, I didn't think much about being on my own. But it was January now, and as I once again looked around my cavernous living room, it all began to get to me. I made a tour of the 3 bedrooms on the other side of the house from mine. Only the one I used to keep all my yarn and crochet stuff in showed any signs of life. The other 2 were uncomfortably neat. My footsteps echoed as I walked into the kitchen. It was just as I'd left it when I went to bed. Just like yesterday, and a lot of yesterdays before. There were no dishes in the sink, no ravaged refrigerator. No one had come knocking at my door in the middle of the night looking for comfort after a bad night with suspects. No one had called and suggested a fun outing. All the peace started to overwhelm me. I made coffee for myself quickly. Did I want to sit around and revel in all this quiet and independence? No. I couldn't wait to get to work and the problems, the confusion, and most of all, the people. I'd heard the statement that silence is deafening, and now I understood it. I needed some noise. I needed some upheaval in my life. Yes, I had learned my lesson about being careful what I wished for. I'd gotten it in spades and absolutely hated it. I knew what I had to do to stir up the pot of my life. I didn't even drink the coffee in my kitchen. I filled a commuter cup and made sure the dry cat food bowl was full and located where the dogs couldn't help themselves, and I left. It took a bit of doing to zip up my jacket while holding the coffee mug as I crossed the backyard. Even here in Southern California, January days are short and chilly. I probably seemed like a wimp for bringing it up when it was icy and snowy back east. But the dew had frozen on the grass. The sun had already melted the thin layer of frost on the Greenmobile, as I called my vintage blue-green Mercedes. Vintage sounded so much better than old. I ran the windshield wipers for a moment, and they got rid of the residue of moisture. One negative about my car: no cup holder, which meant I had to hold the commuter mug between my legs. I looked down at my usual khaki slacks and hoped I'd make it to work without any coffee stains. A few minutes later, I pulled the car into the parking lot behind Shed and Royal Books and More. Once I was inside, I inhaled deeply, noting the familiar fragrance of the paper and thousands of books, mixed with freshly brewed coffee coming in from the cafe, and nodded a greeting to Rayad, our chief cashier. The last of the holiday merchandise was gathered on a front table with a sale sign. Even after all these years, it still seemed odd how the same merchandise looked so exciting before the holiday and irrelevant after. I mean, a chocolate Santa was still, at the heart, chocolate. Any day we'd start putting up Valentine's Day decorations and sell the same type of chocolate the Santa was made out of, shaped like hearts wrapped in red foil. As I made my way through the store, I saw the playwrights group gathered in a tight circle around their facilitator. The yarn department was in the back corner of the store, and along with handling events and community relations, it was my baby. I always liked walking in and seeing the feast of color from the cubbies of yarn. Ever since we'd put up a permanent work table in the middle of the area, it was never empty. I recognized a few faces of my fellow hookers. That's hookers as in crochet. The Tarzana Hookers had been meeting at the bookstore since even before the yarn department had been added. We exchanged a flurry of greetings just as Dinah Lyons caught up with me. She's my best friend, a fellow hooker, and an English instructor at the local community college. She slipped off her Loden green boiled wool jacket and dropped it on a chair.